In the finale of Part 1, Jinho and Lady Ping's combined efforts decisively turn the tide of the battle. They confront the bandit leader, Giant Strength Great Axe, with Jinho's mastery of martial arts on full display as he swiftly overpowers the formidable leader. The remaining bandits, left in a state of terror and chaos, are no match for their skill, and the threat is effectively dismantled. As the story progresses into Part 2, Jinho's victory and growing fame begin to attract the attention of even more powerful adversaries. With new enemies lurking on the horizon and challenges growing ever more dangerous, Jinho's journey is far from over. Stay tuned to witness the next phase of Jinho's journey, filled with drama, action, and intrigue. So sit back, grab a drink, and enjoy the show. Jinho was shocked when he saw Maryung looking so beaten and tired. His eyes widened, and his voice shook as he asked Maryung to explain what had happened. Seeing his servant in this state made Jinho very worried and anxious, his heart beating fast as he waited for Maryung to respond. Maryung explained that the 7th group leader, Bong Woo-ryung, saw him picking a fight with No Chu-sam from the manor guards. As a result, Woo-ryung gave him a beating while reprimanding him. Maryung's voice was filled with frustration and pain as he recounted the events. He mentioned that a servant without a patron is often at the mercy of the martial artists from the manor guards. Since he was not protected by any master, the manor guards mistreated him. Hearing this, Jinho, his voice full of concern, asked Maryung why he didn't belong to any master. Maryung explained that the young master had said he was still under observation, indicating his uncertain status. Realizing his negligence, Jinho admitted he never gave a firm answer regarding Maryung's position. Determined to rectify this, Jinho instructed Maryung to follow him, declaring he couldn't tolerate his people being mistreated any longer. Maryung was taken aback by Jinho's words. "What? Your people? You mean me, young master?" he stammered, his eyes widening in surprise. Jinho nodded firmly, and Maryung's disbelief quickly turned to gratitude as he bowed deeply, his voice filled with emotion, saying, "Thank you, young master." After arriving at the manor pavilion, Maryung spoke hesitantly, trying to downplay his situation. He said he was just a servant and that Jinho shouldn't get involved. Jinho, however, cut him off firmly. He declared that it didn't matter whether Maryung was a servant or a warrior. Attacking Maryung was the same as disrespecting him. Jinho addressed the guards with authority. He instructed them to tell the 7th group leader, Bong Woo-ryung, to come see him. At that moment, No Chu-sam arrived at the manor pavilion and noticed Maryung standing there. Instantly angered, No Chu-sam began to hurl insults at Maryung. Jinho's anger flared at this display of disrespect. He exclaimed, "How dare you insult my servant in front of me?" his voice filled with rage. Seeing Jinho's fury, No Chu-sam became visibly frightened. The nearby guards quickly intervened, urging Jinho to calm down in an attempt to defuse the tense situation. When manor guard Bong Woo-ryung, the leader of the 7th group, arrived, things became even more serious. Upon Bong Woo-ryung's arrival, Jinho expressed his frustration, questioning the manor guard's integrity and leadership. He criticized their lack of pride and honor, accusing them of selling out for money. After Jinho's bold words, Bong Woo-ryung became very angry and swung his sword at him quickly. However, Jinho easily dodged it. Bong Woo-ryung tried again, but Jinho caught his sword with 2 fingers, showing his superior strength. Jinho declared he would make sure nobody disrespected him again. Then he took Bong Woo-ryung's sword and held it up. The manor guards were shocked, wondering how the 4th young master had become so strong. Then, Ma Chong-san, the manor leader of the manor guards, intervened. He promised Jinho that he would handle Woo-ryung and Chu-sam, ensuring they apologized and faced disciplinary action. Ma Chong-san emphasized Woo-ryung's long-standing service and genuine warrior spirit. Jinho agreed to end the matter out of respect for Ma Chong-san, but warned that future incidents wouldn't be forgiven easily. Both Chu-sam and Woo-ryung apologized sincerely to Jinho and Maryung, promising not to repeat their actions. After leaving the manor pavilion, Jinho and Maryung headed home. Meanwhile, at the pavilion, Ma Chong-san pondered the sudden efforts of the Hubuk-pung family, suspecting something significant. Upon witnessing Jinho's formidable strength, he realized that a formidable adversary had emerged within the Suk family. After that event, Jong Maryung and Yoon dedicated themselves to even more intense training. Maryung held his head high with pride, esteeming this over flaunting himself in front of others. As the young master's person, he felt the need to grow stronger. Apart from Jong Maryung, other bothersome guests continued to visit frequently. Over time, Jinho found himself adapting to their presence, considering it part of his daily routine. Then, one day, Lady Pang brought her elder brother, Pang Mugyeon, to meet Jinho at Suk Palace, introducing another person into his life. He meets with Pang Nayeon's brother, Pang Mugyeon. Jinho beams as he extends a hand, uttering a warm greeting. "My name is Suk Jinho." His friendly manner and polite introduction set a welcoming tone. Pang Mugyeon apologizes to Jinho for the unexpected visit. He does so out of politeness. He explained that he meant to reach out earlier. He feared his servant botched the delivery of his message. So, he decided to come in person. He crafted his explanation to clarify his point. Jinho offered comforting words, saying, "Don't worry about it. This isn't the first time something like this has happened." He then invited everyone to enter the room. Nayeon, standing beside her elder brother, voices her concerns about his visit. She questions if his arrival is necessary. She worries that it might pressure the young master. Her words show her protectiveness. They also show her care for the young master's well-being. Pang Mugyeon expressed a desire to encounter Jinho in person. Nayeon couldn't bring him to meet the rest of the Pang family. So he smiled and joked that everyone was curious to know who turned such a wild person into a refined lady. Nayeon got nervous when she heard Pang Mugyeon's words. She warned him not to say anything inappropriate in front of Jinho. She emphasized that even if something went wrong, her big brother wouldn't escape. Pang Mugyeon noticed Nayeon's intense worry about Jinho's well-being. He realized that she had developed strong feelings for him. Pang Mugyeon entered the room and presented a sword to Jinho as a small gift to save Nayeon. He said the sword was special. He hoped Jinho would appreciate it. The gift delighted Jinho. He expressed gratitude. He said he wasn't sure if he deserved such a beautiful sword, but he thanked Pang Mugyeon anyway. He expressed his genuine liking for the sword. Nayeon, observing Jinho's reaction, felt happy to see him pleased with the gift. Pang Mugyeon scrutinizes Jinho with intense interest. He notes that, despite Jinho's plain looks, there is a sense of superiority in his skills. Before, Gardbeck had mentioned that Jinho possesses skill in manipulating internal energy. This skill intrigued Pang Mugyeon. He acknowledges that dueling Jinho is a challenging pursuit for him. He weighs every option with scrupulous attention. After receiving the new sword from Pang Mugyeon, Jinho expresses his desire to test it out in a duel. Mugyeon accepts the challenge, demonstrating his enthusiasm for a spar with Jinho. Mugyeon acknowledges Jinho's perceptive skills in understanding his opponents, but he knows that Jinho won't be easy to defeat. With their agreement set, they both exit the house to begin their duel. Jinho thought to himself, the duel will be a spectacle. It's got to show it to Maryung and Yoon. Since he was the one who proposed the duel, he felt it was important to put on a good show. He wanted to show off his skills. He wanted to make the duel impressive for everyone watching. After a brief pause, Mugyeon unsheathed his sword. Jinho bursts ahead, slashing with his sword in a powerful right arc. Mugyeon was surprised by Jinho's sudden attack. He had expected to attack first with his new sword. Despite his surprise, Jinho launched another rapid attack, catching Mugyeon off guard. Although Mugyeon managed to defend against the onslaught, he sustained minor injuries. He instinctively retreated 2 steps, puzzled by Jinho's remarkable speed and agility. Nayeon thought Mugyeon would attack first, but things didn't go as expected. Mugyeon was frustrated at being pushed back so easily and refused to give up. Known as the soaring fierce tiger in the Jianghu village, he was determined not to be defeated. With resolve, he adjusted his sword and took his stance again. During the battle with Mugyeon, Jinho remembers his past life. He remembers the hard training he went through. He thinks about how he perfected the 5 tigers, breaking the gate sword technique. Compared to his past achievements, fighting Mugyeon is not scary. Mugyeon is so inexperienced. Jinho feels confident. His intense training and skill make him feel better at combat. Jinho prevented the encounter from ending in sudden collapse. He thought to himself that it wasn't often he got the chance to awaken his senses from his past life. So, Peng Mugian realized that defeating Jinho wouldn't be easy. To ensure his victory, he decided to use his best move. It was a powerful technique passed down by the head of the Hubuk Peng family. They named the attack the Chaotic Origin Thunderous Divine Arts. Mugian focused his energy and prepared to unleash this powerful technique. He realized that employing this strategy yielded a superior opportunity to counter Jinho. Tension grew as the two prepared to clash. Each saw the other's great abilities. At that moment, Mugian decided to test Jinho. He did this by using his powerful technique called Thunder. The attack surged toward Jinho with incredible speed. Yet, Jinho stayed calm. He sheathed his sword, took a firm stance, and focused his energy. With a single, swift slash, he easily countered Mugen's thunder attack. He defeated it right away. Seeing his attack being defeated so easily, Mugian admits defeat, saying, "I've given up." Jinho thanks him for the duel and adds, "I've never been pushed back so helplessly before. Even sparring with the 6 dragons wasn't this tough." After acknowledging Mugen's skills, Jinho invites everyone to join him for lunch. Jinho shows respect for Mugian. Everyone agrees. They appreciate the chance to bond over a meal after their challenging encounter. The scene shifts to the Supreme Elder talking to his subordinate. He comments on Jinho's impressive new nickname, Armwind Thunder Tiger. The Supreme Elder believes Jinho's actions will greatly raise the Suk family's prestige. He notes that no matter why Jinho joins any events or activities, it will likely improve the family's reputation. After some time, Jinho's uncle, Diakwal, invited him to the palace. It was for a conference between many agencies. When Diakwal saw Jinho arrive at the palace, he regretted not visiting his nephew earlier. He explained that preparing for the upcoming conference had overwhelmed him. Jinho tried to comfort his uncle. He reassured him. He said the nice carriage Diakwal sent made the trip pleasant. This thoughtful gesture eased Diakwal's worries and brought a smile to Jinho's face. As they moved further inside the palace, you noticed many flags displayed around. Diakwal explained that these were the banners of the escort agencies. They were involved in the conference. He said that both major and minor agencies from the Central Plains were gathered. It was quite an impressive scale. Diakwal looked a bit angry at the people in front of him. He said that thanks to the invitation, even those folks had the nerve to show up shamelessly. Jinho, noticing Diakwal's anger, asked who they were. Diakwal explained that the person was Biam Wongang. He was the young master of the White Demon Escort Agency. He said further that Biam Wongang likely planned to retake his position. He would do so through the upcoming contest for heirs. Seeing Diakwal so serious, Jinho jokes that he wishes Biam Wongang would challenge him to a fight. In response, Diakwal says he doesn't think Biam Wongang would dare mess with the Suk family. Instead, Diakwal believes Biam Wongang will likely spend his time oppressing the heirs of smaller agencies. At the same time, Jinho reflected on the importance of martial contests at the palace banquet. He realized that these contests were similar to those held by the Murim sections. The strength of an escort agency, like the Suk family, was crucial. It played a big role in determining the success or failure of the next generation. This was why there was so much emphasis on keeping him, Jinho, within the Suk family. It wasn't just about his individual skills, but about the broader implications for the family's future. Diakwal then brings everyone to have lunch. However, Jinho convinces the nanny to stay for a while, assuring her that he will return soon. With that, he steps out of the room, saying he'll be right back. Jinho came outside and overheard a group of people discussing a recent challenge. They were talking about how the young master of the White Demon Escort Agency had challenged the young master of the Green Pine Escort Agency. The conversation highlighted that the challenge seemed a bit extreme. One person mentioned that Biam Wongang is the young master of the White Demon Escort Agency. They said he was a disciple of the powerful Kongtong sect. In contrast, the young master of the Green Pine Escort Agency was considered much weaker in comparison. This apparent mismatch in strength made the challenge seem particularly harsh and unfair. Biam Wongang addressed the members of the Green Pine Escort Agency. He questioned why both the head of the agency and Ji-yoon, the young master, were refusing the duel. He seemed to suggest that they were avoiding the confrontation. In response, Ji-yoon's elder sister spoke up. She said that a duel should be agreed upon by both parties. She emphasized that Ji-yoon has no duty to accept the challenge. The young master of the White Demon Escort Agency requested it. But Ji-yoon wants to fight because of his agency's reputation. Jin-ho suddenly entered the room, introducing himself with a polite, "Pleased to meet you, Ji-yoon." His unexpected arrival caused a wave of nervousness among the others. BM1 initially angry at the interruption, quickly calmed down when he realized it was Jin-ho. Without missing a beat, Jin-ho responded provocatively, "This is unexpected. To openly request a duel like this. I thought you were more skilled at underhanded tactics and covert schemes." He continued, his tone sharp. So, the Sook Wind Escort Agency is too tough to confront directly. Instead, you're approaching the Green Pine Escort Agency. Do they seem like an easier target?" Hearing Jin-ho's provocative words, BM1 became very angry. He couldn't hold back and said, "In that case, young Master Sook, would you be willing to exchange a pointer?" His voice was tense, reflecting his anger and frustration at Jin-ho's taunts. The room grew quiet. Everyone waited to see how Jin-ho would respond to BM1's challenge. BM1 believed that Jin-ho had likely built his reputation by relying on the Habuk Pung family. Determined to prove himself, he resolved, "I will utterly defeat him and take all that so-called fame for myself." His determination to dismantle Jin-ho's standing and claim his fame was clear in his mind. Hearing BM1's challenge, Jin-ho responded, "Exchanging a pointer is helpful. It works when the opponent is somewhat capable." But as far as Jin-ho could see, BM1 did not seem to meet his standard. This statement was a clear dismissal of BM1's abilities, implying that Jin-ho did not consider him a worthy opponent. BM1 became even angrier after hearing Jin-ho's provocative words and exclaimed, "What? Are you mocking me right now?" Jin-ho, handling the situation calmly, responded, "Not at all. It's simply that you're not the caliber of opponent I'm looking for, so I propose a proxy duel." BM1 was surprised by the mention of a proxy duel. Jin-ho then explained that the young master of the Green Pine Escort Agency would trade pointers with BM1 instead of him. This left BM1 stunned. He had not expected this turn of events, and everyone else in the room was equally surprised to hear about the proxy duel. Jin-ho then addressed everyone, stating, "If BM1 and this young master agree, the final day of the conference is the ideal time for the duel." Ji-yoon and BM1 both accepted the challenge after hearing Jin-ho's provoking words. Confident in his abilities, BM1 thought to himself, "How could Ji-yoon of the Green Pine Escort Agency match me?" Certain he was the better fighter, he left, determined to prove his strength in the duel. Meanwhile, Ji-yoon's older sister told Jin-ho that he had not done the right thing. She knew well that Ji-yoon was much weaker than BM1. But Jin-ho reassured her. He urged her to trust her brother. He believed that Ji-yoon could defeat his opponent. Hearing this praise, Ji-yoon felt very happy. Later, Jin-ho invited both Ji-yoon and his sister to meet him. Ji-yoon and her elder sister stood in Jin-ho's modest yet charming living room. Curiosity was evident in their eyes as they faced Jin-ho. The young man bowed politely. He introduced himself as Ji-yoon, the young master of the Green Pin Escort Agency. The woman, speaking with authority and grace, added that she was Ji-yoon, the head of the agency. After the introductions, Ji-yoon couldn't contain her curiosity. She stepped closer to Jin-ho and asked why he had decided to help them. After hearing Ji-yoon's question, Jin-ho nodded thoughtfully. He understood why she was cautious, as it was rare to find genuine kindness without a reason. Jin-ho then explained that his actions were not just kind. They were based on a connection from a past generation. He was repaying a debt of gratitude to the previous generation. At that moment, Jin-ho drifted into a flashback of his memories. He remembered a time when he was in a worse situation than Sook Jin-ho. He was barely clinging to life in the mountains in the dead of winter. His body was likely colder than a corpse, buried beneath the snow, unable to move and just waiting for the end. But then, someone found him. That person was none other than Ji-yoon's father, who was the head of the Green Pine Escort Agency at the time. He saved Jinho's life and treated his wounds. The kindness he showed Jinho back then remains his most shining and warm memory. That's why he wants to help Ji-yoon. After coming out of the flashback, Jinho thought to himself that he couldn't tell them about his past life. So instead, he said, his late mother told him that she owed a great debt to the head of the Green Pine Escort Agency long ago. She always said it was a debt that must be repaid, so I intend to help you both. Jinho explained that being of humble birth, he found it difficult to repay the debt with money. Instead, he chose to repay it with his humble abilities. Ji-yoon was surprised by this revelation. He realized that Jinho was trying to help him with his martial arts skills. Jinho then asked them about the Green Pine Escort Agency. He mentioned that he had heard it was once one of the 10 great escort agencies. He wanted to know what had happened to it. Ji-yoon revealed that their agency was once in the top 10. It was one of the Central Plains great escort agencies. But the White Demon Escort Agency colluded with bandits to hijack the goods they were protecting. Their father, the late head of the agency, died defending the goods from the bandits' assault. Their mother went to the scene but never returned. Hearing this, Jinho understood why Ji-yoon was always angry. He carried the burden of the past and the uncertainty of what happened to their mother. Jinho listened to Ji-yoon's words. He decided to take them outside to start their training right away. He knew they didn't have much time before the competition. Outside, Jinho carefully observed Ji-yoon. He noticed that Ji-yoon's muscles were well-defined. And, judging by his movements, they weren't bad. Jinho felt confident that his judgment about Ji-yoon's potential wasn't mistaken. Ji-yoon was only at a first-class level in martial arts. But Jinho saw that with the right training, Ji-yoon had the potential to become incredibly strong. Without wasting any time, Jinho suggested they begin immediately. He launched a swift fist toward Ji-yoon, who tried to defend but struggled to match Jinho's skill. Jinho recognized Ji-yoon's talent. He saw it despite his stiff movements from overworked muscles. He understood the challenge he faced. Meanwhile, seeing her brother in pain, Ji-yoon tried to intervene. But he insisted she stay out of it. He saw this as a chance to grow stronger. He vowed not to give up. He was determined to avenge their wrongs against the White Demon Escort Agency. Understanding her brother's determination, Ji-yoon decided not to intervene. She watched as Ji-yoon attacked Jinho, but Jinho easily countered by targeting Ji-yoon's body's main pressure points. Despite being repeatedly struck, Ji-yoon refused to give up, determined to match Jinho's skill. Eventually, Jinho called an end to the session, noting that Ji-yoon's body needed time to recover. Reluctantly, Ji-yoon agreed, deciding to follow Jinho's instructions for the day. The next day, Ji-yoon felt a lightness in his body, realizing that the punches from Jinho had helped stabilize his energy flow. After understanding Jinho's intentions, their respect for him grew. When Jinho came outside the house, Ji-yoon asked if he had used any special technique on him the day before. Jinho replied that he had simply loosened up Ji-yoon's overstrained muscles. He advised Ji-yoon to allow himself time to recover. He should do this at least once or twice a month. He emphasized that his body needed time to grow. Jinho asked Ji-yoon if he had a preferred sword technique. Ji-yoon replied that he was currently learning a sword technique passed down through his family. Jinho then suggested that Ji-yoon demonstrate his technique to see how far he could go. After completing the sword practice with Ji-yoon, Jinho attended to other matters. He spoke with someone, instructing them to arrange a special place for a duel. The person reassured him, saying they had raised the stakes and arranged a special place for the duel. He encouraged Jinho to give the detestable Beam family a good beating. After that, everyone gathered at the place where the duel would begin. Ji-yoon looked at Jinho and said, his practice makes him feel like he could beat Beam Wonging 6 out of 10 times. Hearing this, Jinho became happy. Then, they announced the final duel between Ji-yoon and Beam. Before the fight began, Beam provoked Ji-yoon, stating that it seemed Ji-yoon hadn't learned that running away could also be a form of courage. Beam mentioned that the former agency head met his end due to his recklessness. Hearing this, Ji-yoon responded that whether it was recklessness or not would be clear after the duel. But Maryung expressed doubt to Yoon. He asked if he was sure that Ji-yoon would win the match. He noted that Beam's internal energy seemed stronger by looking. Yoon reassured him. He reminded Maryung that the young master had already shown them this. He had shown them that strength isn't about inner energy. Meanwhile, the duel between Byum and Ji-yoon began. Before attacking, Byum tried to provoke Ji-yoon. He said that Ji-yoon seemed to think he had become special. He thought so since hanging out with that bastard son from the Suk family. Byum continued, stating that no matter how hard the dregs struggled, it was still a futile effort. His words were meant to cut deep, hoping to shake Ji-yoon's confidence. But Ji-yoon stayed calm, focusing on Byum's movements. Byum quickly grabbed his sword with both hands and launched a swift attack. As the blade swung towards him, Ji-yoon effortlessly dodged the attack, and his mind immediately flashed back to his training sessions with Jinho. During those sessions, Ji-yoon struggled to land even a single attack on Jinho. Every time, he found himself outmatched and frustrated. In exasperation, he once asked why he couldn't land a single attack on Jinho. This was true even when Jinho didn't use his internal energy. Jinho clarified that success in combat depended on where one focused their attention, a fundamental concept. He observed that Ji-yoon made an error by fixating on the tip of Jinho's sword rather than on Jinho himself. Ji-yoon wondered whether it was necessary to anticipate the attack. Jinho responded by explaining that once the sword began to move, it was already too late to react, particularly when facing a stronger opponent. After recalling Jinho's words, Ji-yoon returned to reality. Byum was furious because Ji-yoon had easily evaded his attacks. Byum taunted Ji-yoon. He accused Ji-yoon of lacking courage in fighting and of evading attacks like a rat. He suggested that this was Ji-yoon's best strategy. Ji-yoon ignored Byum's words. He soon realized he could easily read Byum's moves. He had observed the young master Jinho for several days. Ji-yoon thought to himself, a person's stance shows their center of gravity. The torso's motion shows the next attack's direction. When strength gathers in the shoulder, it signals that the attack is imminent. At that moment, Byum's attack came as Ji-yoon had predicted. It let him respond well. When Byum swung his sword at Ji-yoon, Ji-yoon swiftly moved to take the chance. He countered with precise timing. He delivered a swift, decisive blow that injured Byum. After Ji-yoon hit him, Byum looked very scared. But Ji-yoon was very happy to see her brother's quick progress. But Jinho warned her, it's too early to celebrate. The opponent hasn't used their full strength yet. Byum stood on the ground firmly. Without mercy, he launched a powerful attack on Ji-yoon. Ji-yoon saw the fast attack. It was furious. He was shocked but somehow defended himself. Byum continued to attack relentlessly, while Ji-yoon defended and tried to counterattack at the same time. Their swords clashed repeatedly as they fought for a long time. When Ji-yoon tried to dismantle Byum's stance, Byum used one of his advanced sword techniques, injuring Ji-yoon's shoulder. Despite the injury, Ji-yoon did not give up, which surprised Byum. Byum wondered aloud why Ji-yoon was still fighting despite being seriously injured. Determined to end the duel, Byum swung his sword for a final, decisive blow. However, Ji-yoon defended the attack with his sword. Then, using his other hand, he delivered a huge blow to Byum. This blow caused Byum's sword to fall from his hand. With this outcome, Ji-yoon won the battle. Realizing he had been defeated by someone he once considered insignificant, Byum was filled with humiliation and rage. He understood that he would be a laughingstock to everyone. Unable to accept this humiliation, he picked up his sword again and declared that the duel was not over. As he prepared to strike Ji-yoon, Jinho intervened. With a single powerful blow from his hand, Jinho knocked Byum unconscious, ending the conflict once and for all. Everyone was shocked to see Jinho take down Byum with a single strike. Jinho's blow was so powerful and precise that it left the onlookers in awe. It showed just how strong he was. But Byum's father was displeased with the outcome. He indicated to Jinho that he would make him regret what happened today. Right now, everyone was very happy because Ji-yoon had won the battle with Jinho's help. Nanny held Darky and expressed her pride in Jinho. Ji-yoon once again thanked Jinho for his assistance in winning the duel. The conference concluded without any further incidents, and time passed by. Jinho gradually assimilated into his new life and with the people around him. Before he knew it, he was celebrating his first birthday in his new body. Jinho started relocating and shifting his belongings when his father approached him and asked if he was truly leaving. In response, Jinho told him, Did I not make that clear earlier, Manor Master? Upon hearing this, his father remarked, "So, you refused to call me father to the very end." After Jinho's father insisted on knowing where he was going, Jinho gave in. He said he was going to the Yellow River in Hubuk Province. He explained that Nanny was from Hubuk herself. She would find it easier to stay closer to home. Touched by Jinho's decision, his father gave him a gift. He called it both a birthday present and a token of support. He expressed his feelings, acknowledging that he hadn't been able to provide much until now. His father also told him, it's not about settling any debts or anything. Understanding his father's emotions, Jinho accepted this token. His father then asked him, "What are you planning to do once you reach Yellow River?" Jinho answered that he didn't have any big plans at the moment, but he was considering starting a small martial arts academy. When Jinho mentioned starting a small martial arts academy, Maryung's excitement was clear. Jinho said the name would be Heavenly Ascent Martial Academy. Maryung eagerly asked, "Does this mean Yoon and I will be teachers?" Maryung's excitement grew. He suggested they stop calling Jinho Young Master and start calling him Principal. But before the academy's establishment, Maryung had already made many plans. This annoyed Darky. Darky kicked Maryung hard in his frustration. In an attempt to calm things, Jinho told them that Darky insisted on moving the luggage first. He said they could settle on the titles later. A servant then approached Jinho and relayed a message from a palace representative. The message stated that no matter what Jinho does, he will always need horses and carriages. The servant told Jinho that they were told to leave him the horse and carriage he arrived in. They also left best wishes for the prosperity of the Heavenly Ascent Martial Academy. Jinho, without any arguments, responded that he would make good use of them. Seeing the place, the nanny commented that it was refreshing to be by the sea, as it felt like it opened up her heart. Jinho noticed her happiness. He expressed his gladness and told her they would be much busier soon. He mentioned that she would need to take care of the entire martial arts academy by cooking for everyone. However, he reassured her that they would also tend to the vegetable garden and raise livestock. The nanny, determined, told him to leave the kitchen responsibilities to her. Jinho, in response, said he would be counting on her and offered money for household expenses. The nanny initially refused. She felt it was too much responsibility. But Jinho reassured her. He said there was a lot he needed to do, and she wouldn't leave him to handle everything alone. Understanding the situation, the nanny agreed to take good care of everything. Jinho then spoke to everyone. He urged them to finish tidying up quickly so they could rest. After moving the luggage, they all went to the market. Yoon commented that he had never spent so much time in the market before. He realized they needed more things than expected. He noted that it was probably because they had brought only a few items with them. Jinho acknowledged the trouble of moving the goods, but he reassured that the livestock would be received tomorrow. This would solve many of their problems. The nanny then raised a concern about tonight's dinner, pointing out that everyone must be getting hungry. Hearing the nanny's concern, Jinho suggested they grab a bite before heading home. He noted that food smelled delicious from every alley. Suddenly, Maruing's nose caught another enticing scent. He told Jinho that he smelled something delicious. It was coming from a specific direction. They followed the aroma and found a place where delicious food was being cooked. Without wasting time, they entered the establishment. When they entered, they saw some people standing around two children with bad intentions. Maruing yelled at them, demanding to know what they had done to the children. Jinho interrupted Maruing, telling him to step back and let him handle the situation. Jinho then addressed the people, stating they had come for a peaceful meal but seemed to have arrived at the wrong time. One of the men laughed and said it was only right to make way for guests. He then noted that judging by the load Jinho was carrying, they didn't seem like mere travelers. Jinho explained that they were new to the neighborhood as of today. The man, with a devilish smile, replied that they would be seeing each other often and suggested they introduce themselves. He identified himself as Chungeology from the Red Cliff sect. Jinho spoke up. "I'm Suk Jinho, principal of the Heavenly Ascent Martial Academy." He then asked if there was anything else. He said he would appreciate it if Chungeology and his men could step aside. Without causing any trouble, they left. Jinho then asked the children if there was any meal available. The children, who were running the place, confirmed there was. The girl asked if she should serve 4 bowls of noodles. Jinho agreed and also requested some meat for their cat. After placing the order, Jinho turned to Maruing in a serious tone. He asked if he planned to step in every time this happened. He acknowledged Maruing's plan to help the siblings, but he reminded him that drawing his sword could change things. Jinho explained that if they had chased the ruffians off, the ruffians would probably come back for revenge. He asked Maruing if he planned to stay and protect them when trouble arose, or if he thought it was none of his concern afterward. Maruing admitted he hadn't thought that far ahead. Jinho explained his situation. He said he wasn't telling him to endure every incident. If Maruing were that kind of person, Jinho wouldn't have taught him martial arts in the first place. He advised Maruing to step forward decisively. He should make sure to leave no regrets. Understanding Jinho's words, Maruing promised not to cause such problems in the future. Jinho added that since he had mentioned his name, things would probably be quiet for a while. He expected that the true colors of those men would show once they realized who he was. Shortly after, the girl brought the noodles to their table and some meat for the cat. Seeing the skillful presentation of the noodles, the nanny commented that it was impressive to see such skill in someone so young. As they began eating, they found the noodles to be exceptionally delicious, surprising everyone. They praised the girl for her culinary talents. The girl said she learned to cook from her grandmother, but her grandmother hadn't been coming to the restaurant lately because she was unwell. Jinho found the food delicious. He said they would come back when her grandmother recovered. In the middle of eating, Jinho asked the girl why the men from earlier were after her and if she owed them money. The girl explained that they originally ran a small street stall and had saved up and taken out a small loan to open the restaurant. However, since her grandmother got sick and they had to take some time off, they had fallen short on this month's expenses. She realized she shouldn't trouble their guests with such stories. She apologized and excused herself, wishing them an enjoyable meal. Jinho thought about the young siblings and their sick grandmother, noting that their situation didn't seem too bright. He observed that the place was small and simple, but the taste of the food was good enough to attract attention. He understood that the thugs probably wanted to use the small debt as leverage to take over the business entirely. Even after taking over, they would likely claim the debt wasn't fully paid, forcing the kids to labor indefinitely. Jinho recognized that these thugs operated by tightening their grip just enough to keep their victims alive. For now, he decided to watch how things unfolded. Besides, if things went according to his plan, those troublemakers would be taken care of soon enough. After dinner, they all went home. The next morning, Yoon and Maruing went to the beach to train in martial arts. During the training, Maruing slipped into the depths of the water and shouted for help. Yoon quickly saved him and advised him not to go too deep into the water. Maruing explained that balancing on the sand was incredibly difficult, which is why he slipped. Jinho, seeing Maruing struggling, told him that it was all part of the training. He explained that there was no better way to build leg strength than training on a sandy beach. Encouraged by Jinho's words, Maruing regained his confidence. Jinho then instructed both Maruing and Yoon to stop their training and check the fish traps. After checking, they managed to catch many fish for food. Sometime later, Jinho instructed Yoon and Maruing to take the food home. Maruing insisted on staying with Jinho, but Jinho harshly told him not to argue and to focus on his work. Reluctantly, Yoon and Maruing left the beach. Jinho then took a boat to the middle of the river, contemplating that now that the household affairs inside the martial arts academy had settled down to some extent, it was time to start dealing with external matters. He noted that although they had a fair amount of money, it wasn't enough to sustain a life of leisure indefinitely. Generating income from the martial arts academy right away would be difficult, and there was a lot of groundwork to prepare for the academy to become prosperous. This was why Jinho had assigned tasks to Yoon, Maruing, and the nanny to handle household and other small work. Until the academy could stand on its own feet, it would need a temporary source of income. That was precisely why Jinho chose the Yellow River as their location. He then jumped into the river, thinking that there were spiritual creatures in the river that, when consumed, could enhance one's internal energy and, when sold, could be turned into money. Under the deep water, you often find remarkable creatures like 50-year-old purple clams. They are captivating to observe. Even better, this place is somewhere only I can enter, making the experience even more special and unique. As Jinho dove deeper, he noticed even better, older clams. Filled with excitement, he thought to himself, encountering anything older seems to require a stroke of luck. Am I right, my audience friend? Jinho found some good clams and said, this one is certainly different from the others. Its acuteness is impressive. It's so sensitive it can sense my presence. As soon as the clam realizes Jinho's presence, it tries to escape. But Jinho is quick, catching it in his hand. He smirks, saying, you can't escape from me so easily. He examines the clam more closely and notices something about its appearance. Judging by its color, he thinks, it's not 1,000 years old. Seems like it's about 500 years. With this, it should be enough for me to complete a transformation stage. The thought fills him with anticipation. Once I achieve this stage, my body's energy flow will revive completely. Jinho came up to the surface holding a bunch of oysters he had collected from underwater. He tried to open one with his strength, but it wouldn't budge. With a confident grin, he said, I get it, you're tough to open, but today's not your lucky day. You've never met someone like me. He then focused his spiritual energy and applied it to the stubborn oyster. With some effort, the shell finally cracked open. Inside, Jinho found a precious pearl which he knew was a powerful pill. He thought, asterisk, this pill holds the true essence I need. Asterisk. Without hesitating, Jinho swallowed the pill. Almost immediately, he felt something unusual. It feels like the sea just before a wild storm, he thought, asterisk, wild and chaotic on the surface, but deep down everything is calm. Asterisk. Jinho concentrated, gathering the powerful energy from the chaotic origin heavenly thunder divine art and guiding it to his chi center, a special place in his body where energy is stored and nurtured. As the energy from the pill spread through his body, it moved through his main energy pathways or meridians, and he felt a powerful change happening. The chaotic origin heavenly thunder energy, now stronger thanks to the pill, started to flow through his body's key channels. The energy grew stronger and stronger until it finally broke through the last barrier inside him. As his body's energy channels were fully activated, Jinho felt the transformation complete. His energy flow had been renewed, marking an important step forward in his journey. After completing the stage, Jinho realized that he had taken much longer than expected, which delayed his return home. Feeling more confident, Jinho understood that while he might not be fully skilled at using his internal energy yet, with time and practice he would master it. When he finally arrived home, his nanny greeted him with concern, saying, the night sea can be perilous, so please don't stay out too late. Seeing the large clams Jinho brought back, Maryung, his friend, exclaimed, I've never seen such large ones before. Jinho smiled and said, prepare these clams for dinner. He then offered some clams to Darky, his cat, but Darky struggled to open the shell. Jinho chuckled and advised, it's not easy to open. Try using your internal energy. Taking Jinho's words to heart, Darky focused and in no time used his energy to open the shell, happily eating the clam with satisfaction. After preparing the meal, they all sat down to eat. As Maryung took a bite of the clams, he couldn't help but exclaim, why does this clam taste so delicious? I've been to many popular eateries lately, but I've never tasted anything like this. Jinho smiled, pleased with the reaction, knowing that the clams were something truly special. Yun also chimed in, saying, I've never seen such large clams in my lifetime. After eating, he noticed a subtle warmth spreading in his stomach. Curious about the unusual sensation, both Maryung and Yun looked to Jinho for an explanation. Jinho smiled and said, once you've finished eating, go inside and circulate your chi. Then you'll know for sure. After dinner, the nanny noticed the extra clams Jinho had left in the backyard and asked, are the ones you left in the backyard meant for the young master to eat later? Jinho shook his head and replied, no, those are for something else. I'm planning to start a business. Surprised, the nanny asked, are you planning to sell these clams yourself? Jinho smiled and said, why would I sell them myself when there are people who can do it much better than I can? The next morning, everyone woke up early to start their day with practice. Jinho asked the nanny, do you feel any better after yesterday's meal? The nanny, looking more energized than ever, replied, "Yes, young master. I've never woken up feeling this refreshed." Jinho nodded and added, "Today we're expecting a guest." The nanny's face lit up with joy as it was the first time someone was coming as a guest. When the guest carriage finally arrived, Jinho looked out and said with a smile, "Speak of the tiger and it shows up." The guest turned out to be none other than Jinho's older sister, Suk Miryong. Jinho welcomed her warmly, saying, "It's been a while since we last met. I hope you didn't have any trouble getting to this place." Miryong smiled and replied, "There was no problem coming here. And please speak informally with me." As they walked together, Miryong asked, "But what's the reason for seeking me out so suddenly? Though I must say it was nice to receive the first letter ever sent by my little brother." Jinho looked at her and said, "I just wanted to discuss some business with you, Nuna." When Miryong heard Jinho's request, she suggested they look around his house first and talk about business later. But Jinho thought it was better to handle the business first so they could relax and enjoy the rest of their time together afterward. Jinho then brought her in front of the goods and said, "These are special clams, and they are very hard to find these days." Miryong was stunned when she saw the ancient clam, so much so that she was speechless. Meanwhile, Jinho picked up one of the clams and pointed out its deep red color, explaining, "This is a 100-year-old red clam." Seeing this, she told him, "You really caught such a big clam with your own hands?" Even seasoned fishermen who've spent decades at sea and martial artists who have honed their skills can only manage to find 50 or 60-year-old ones at best. She marveled at the clam, her eyes wide with disbelief. "People say finding a 100-year-old purple clam or a 100-year-old red clam is a once-in-a-lifetime stroke of luck," she exclaimed, her voice filled with awe. Hearing her comment, Jinho confidently replied, "Of course, I caught it myself, which is why I want to propose a deal. It wasn't easy for me to get this, but I want to sell it through you, sister. And yes, I'll be asking for the full price." "You expected that, right? I'm not about to haggle over such a rare opportunity by arguing about the cost." Impressed by Jinho's talent, Miryong asked, "Is it possible to find something even rarer, like a 1,000-year-old purple clam?" Jinho replied, "Well, such spiritual beasts are said to be attainable only when fate allows it." Understanding the challenge, Miryong offered a suggestion. "How about entering into an exclusive contract with me?" Miryong reassured Jinho, saying, "Don't worry, I'll pay above market rate. In return, you'll distribute everything of value through me, not just the 100-year-old purple clams." Jinho responded thoughtfully, "I can't guarantee I'll always have as many as you want. I'd prefer they don't become too common in the market." Miryong nodded in agreement. "That's exactly what I intend as well." Realizing there might be more to her offer, Jinho asked, "So when a merchant is willing to pay more, it makes me wonder, what's the catch? Do you have information that someone important is looking for a 1,000-year-old purple clam?" Miryong simply smiled and said, "I'll skip answering that one, but I'm sure you could easily find out if you really wanted to. Still, you're looking for a distributor to avoid that hassle, aren't you, little brother?" In this exchange, Jinho suspected that Miryong might know something about a high demand for rare clams, but she kept her information close, hinting that Jinho was better off focusing on their partnership than digging deeper into the matter. Without further hesitation, Jinho finally decided, "It's okay. There's no need for any more investigation. Now let's discuss the contract duration and the price." Jinho began by saying, "First off, I know these clams are very valuable, so I hope you'll give me a fair price for them." Miryong agreed and bought the clams at a high price, but she left Jinho's house without staying for dinner. As she was leaving, Jinho called out, "You're leaving without having dinner?" She replied, "I've paid a hefty sum for these goods, so I need to focus on selling them for even more." Jinho smiled and said, "That's just whining. I know you're confident you can sell them at a higher price. That's why you made the deal, right?" But instead of answering, Miryong just chuckled and said, "Anyway, I'm looking forward to doing business with you," and left. After she was gone, Jinho realized that Miryong would never reveal her secrets. Meanwhile, Miryong observed, "She actually left without having dinner." Jinho responded, "That just shows how satisfied she was with the deal. Even if she paid a high price, the goods are worth it. Plus, With the distribution rights for the 100-year-old red clams, it'll be a game-changer in the succession battle. At that moment, the nanny came in and asked, "Shall I prepare the meal right away?" Jinho looked at the time and said, "It's gotten late. Maybe we should eat out? That noodle place we tried last time was quite delicious. It's been tiring entertaining guests. Let's take it easy for dinner." "Let's go, nanny." Without any questions, everyone agreed and headed to the noodle place. But when they arrived, they found it closed. Surprised, Jinho said, "It's rare for the eatery to be closed at dinner time." The nanny speculated, "Something must be up. Maybe their grandmother is critically ill?" Maryung added, "Hopefully it's not because those thugs have been causing trouble." But Yoon reassured them, if that were the case, the place would be in an uproar. Jinho approached a man nearby and asked, "Excuse me, do you know why the eatery is closed today?" The man responded, "They're probably still at the cemetery." Surprised, Jinho and the others asked why they would be at the cemetery. The man explained, "Their grandmother has been sick for a while. She collapsed recently and unfortunately never got back up again. Yesterday, a few nearby merchants went to help with the funeral." Jinho then asked for directions to the cemetery, and the man showed them the way. Everyone made their way to the cemetery through a forest road. However, in the middle of the journey, Jinho sensed danger and quickly came up with an excuse. He said, "Come to think of it, we need to feed the livestock. You three go back first with Darky." With that, he sent everyone back home and rushed deeper into the forest alone. As he ventured further, Jinho came across a group of men threatening a young boy and girl. One of the men snarled, "Not being able to transfer the eatery, not being able to repay the debt. Are you two just asking to be killed?" Frightened, the boy pleaded, "How do you expect us to come up with such a large sum overnight?" The girl standing beside him added, "No matter how important money is, do you really have to bring this up now? Our grandmother has just passed away, and you come here before we've even held her funeral? Why not come during daylight? Are you afraid of the Heavenly Ascent Martial Academy people?" Her words angered the men, and one of them threatened, "Your mouths are getting too big. Let me teach you a lesson right now." As he moved to strike them, Jinho appeared and grabbed the man's hand, stopping him in his tracks. The siblings recognized Jinho as the principal of the Heavenly Ascent Martial Academy and felt a wave of relief. Jinho asked them calmly, "Have you been hurt or has anything been taken from you?" The siblings quickly assured him, "No, nothing has been taken from us." Jinho, maintaining a calm but firm demeanor, reassured the siblings, "Then that's good. Do as I say from now on." He instructed the boy, "First, cover your sister's ears and hold her so she can't see what's about to happen." As the boy complied, Jinho squeezed the hand of the man who had threatened them, causing him to wince in pain. The other men, seeing this, were struck with fear. Jinho then challenged them, "Is there anyone among you brave and foolhardy enough to come forward for your friend?" None of the men dared to move. They had all heard of Jinho's reputation, how he had become the strongest fighter in the martial world. The fear of facing such a formidable opponent kept them frozen in place. With swift precision, Jinho struck their boss on the neck with 2 fingers, hitting key pressure points that caused him to fall unconscious instantly. His expression darkened with anger as he turned to the rest of the group. "The brave and short-sighted one, shut up for a moment," Jinho commanded coldly. "And the cowardly and long-sighted ones, listen carefully and spread the word exactly as I say." The men stood paralyzed, unable to look away from the formidable warrior before them. Jinho continued, his voice filled with authority, "I know you lot are like bugs that keep crawling out no matter how many are caught. That's why I didn't bother to wipe you out the first day we met." He paused, letting his words sink in. "Because if one spot becomes vacant, it'll just be filled by someone similar or worse. However, if you insist on behaving in a manner that is less than human, then that's a different story. If pests like you keep roaming around, not keeping to yourselves but causing disgust, shouldn't you be exterminated on sight?" Jinho's eyes flashed with determination as he delivered his final warning. "That's why. Pass this message on to your boss and the other evil paths in this yellow river. If they don't want to be crushed to death, they'd better at least pretend to be human." The men, now fully grasping the gravity of the situation, nodded in fear, knowing they had no choice but to relay Jinho's message. After hearing Jinho's stern warning, the remaining goons fled in terror, leaving the cemetery in a hurry. With the threat gone, Seol and Kong were finally able to complete their grandmother's funeral in peace, honoring her memory without further disruption. Now that they are alone in the world, with no family left to turn to, Jinho takes the two of them into his house. After bringing them home, Jinho offers them food, and after some time, Nanny prepares dinner for everyone. Jinho was expressing concern for Nanny, suggesting she should take it easy, especially since she's the one doing the cooking. Nanny reassured Jinho, saying not to worry because she loves cooking for everyone. Now everyone starts eating, and in the middle of eating, Jinho asks them whether you still plan to keep the eatery open. Kong, reflecting on their situation, said, "For now, it seems like it's the only way for us to make a living." But Jinho, concerned about their security and future, offered them a plan. Seol can help Nanny, and you, Kong, could do the work that Yoon and Maryung used to do. Try working here and gain some experience. And when you're ready to go out on your own, I'll let you go anytime. Kong is hesitating a bit, but Nanny says that's fine, then my work will be reduced a bit. Kong felt a strong sense of responsibility towards his sister, but he recognized that he was still too weak to protect her or fight anyone if needed. He reflected on how uncertain things might have turned out if Jinho hadn't shown up earlier to help them. This made Kong consider the possibility of learning martial arts to protect his sister, Seol. Realizing the importance of gaining strength and skills, Kong decided to accept Jinho's offer to stay and work with them. Jinho reassured Kong that he didn't need to worry about money, as Nanny would make sure he received his salary on time since he would be working closely with her. This decision was driven by Kang's desire to protect his sister and the opportunity to learn and grow in a supportive environment. After finishing their conversation, everyone started enjoying the delicious meal that Nanny had prepared. The scene then shifted to a place called the Sleepless Pavilion, where a different atmosphere prevailed. Inside, a man named Jiam Keelong, known as the 1,000 Gold Prescription Boss, was sitting and eating 2 pieces of meat with both hands, displaying rough and rude manners. In the same room were 2 other notable figures, the sect leader of the Black Ghost sect, also called Blood Ghost, and the owner of the Sleepless Pavilion, Wano. They had all gathered there to discuss the recent activities of Jinho. Wano, breaking the tense silence, addressed the others. "I assume you both have done your investigations into the Heavenly Ascent Martial Academy. That would explain your unusual silence these past few days. But isn't everyone's patience reaching its limit now?" In response to Wano's question, the Black Ghost sect leader expressed his doubts, saying, "Even so, what can we do about it? He may be a bastard son, but he is still from the Suk family manor. And what are we supposed to do with someone who has ties to the Hubuk Pung family?" Jiam Keelong, the 1,000 Gold Prescription Boss, chimed in, adding, "Remember how effortlessly Jinho dealt with Ochungeology from the Red Cliff sect? So it will be hard for us to guarantee our victory. Even if we win, it will be difficult to bear the wrath of the Suk family manor and the Hubuk Pung family." Hearing this, Wano responded angrily, "I didn't expect you, the boss of the 1,000 Gold, to have such a naive thought. Should someone who manages a gambling den afford to be so rigid in their thinking?" His frustration was evident as he continued, "Must we take care of this matter with our own hands? There is a saying, to kill someone with a borrowed knife. We can make someone else take the blame for us. All is well when we have money in hand." Wano's words revealed his cunning nature, suggesting they could manipulate others into doing their dirty work, thereby avoiding confrontation with Jinho and his powerful allies. Understanding the situation, the Black Ghost sect leader responded to Wano, "So you want us to blame the White Demon Escort Agency, with whom we aren't on good terms?" After some discussion, the group reached a consensus. They decided to send someone to assassinate Jinho, seeing it as the only way to deal with the threat he posed. To ensure their secrecy, they all signed an oath, swearing never to reveal their involvement in the plot to anyone. This agreement bound them together in a dangerous pact, sealing their fate as co-conspirators in a deadly scheme. After the scene at the Sleepless Pavilion, the story shifts back to Jinho's house. Jinho is quietly writing something at his desk, while Darky, his loyal companion, sits beside him. However, as they spend more time in the room, Darky begins to sense that something isn't right. The tension in the air makes Darky uneasy, and his reactions catch Jinho's attention. Sensing the shift, Jinho understands what might be happening and calmly speaks, "I know what might happen here." He explains his thoughts to Darky, saying, "First, the one above will try to kidnap the nanny to create a distraction and attract my attention. While I'm chasing after the kidnapped nanny, the one below will strike from behind." With a clear understanding of the danger, Jinho decides to act. He leaves the room with Darky by his side and, as they move through the house, he remarks, "It's only been a few days since I told them to at least act like a human. But, was my word not enough?" Just as Jinho predicted, someone attempts to open Nanny's door from the outside, likely as part of the plot to kidnap her. But before they can act, Jinho intercepts them, saying firmly, "Stop right there. There's no need to wake someone who's sleeping since I am here." Hearing Jinho's voice, the intruders, dressed like ninjas and intent on kidnapping the nanny, panicked. One of them thought, "No, to be discovered. First, I need to retreat," and immediately started running away as fast as he could. Jinho immediately instructs Darky to make sure the escaping intruder doesn't get away. Darky swiftly chases the man. Jinho is confident. Darky wouldn't let a skilled assassin escape. With that, Jinho heads to the other side of the house. An assassin is lurking by a tree there. Jinho spots the assassin and says, "No one will come to help you anymore." Seeing Jinho's furious expression, the assassin feared, "He's worse than the rumors." Before he can react, Jinho punches him in the face. It is a powerful, unexpected blow. The assassin instantly regrets taking on this mission. "I should have never taken this mission in the first place," he realizes, understanding that this was a doomed effort from the start. Desperate, the assassin decides to take his own life by consuming poison, thinking it's his only escape. But Jinho is too quick. He pulls away the cloth covering the assassin's face. Then, he forces his hand into the assassin's mouth, preventing him from swallowing the poison. "Don't think I would allow you to take your own life," Jinho says firmly. The assassin is shocked, realizing he knows how to take the poison out of a trained assassin's mouth. This person is not some ordinary bastard son, nor is he like a novice martial artist. The assassin, now completely overwhelmed, thought to himself, "It felt like I was coming face to face with an old monster that had been in this country for decades." After dealing with the first assassin, Jinho made his way to the other one who had been caught by Darky. With a cold and menacing tone, Jinho asked, "Your colleague has also failed. Now, I will give you two choices. First, reveal the client's identity and die peacefully. And second, reveal the client's identity and die in excruciating pain." Terrified by Jinho's words and the certainty in his expression, the assassin quickly broke down and revealed everything. The Black Ghost Sect, 1,000 Gold Prescription, and Sleepless Pavilion are the ones who made the request, he confessed. They are now gathering in the Sleepless Pavilion's exquisite chamber. With this information, Jinho knew exactly who was behind the plot and where to find them. At the same time, Mariung and Yoon, sensing something amiss, decided to come out and help Jinho. Observing their determination, Jinho thought, "This time, I'll let them both gain some real experience." He decided to bring the two with him to the Sleepless Pavilion. However, before they set off, Jinho warned them sternly, "Today, you will kill real people. If you hesitate or feel afraid, you can turn back now." But Mariung and Yoon, showing no hesitation, responded confidently, "We've prepared ourselves. Don't worry, we won't turn back now." Inside the palace of the Sleepless Pavilion, Jiam Keelong was growing uneasy. He turned to the others and said, "Why is there no answer from them? Could they have failed?" Wano, trying to dismiss the possibility, replied, "Don't talk ominous things." In the middle of their tense conversation, the door to the chamber suddenly swings open, and Jinho walks in with a sword in hand. His presence immediately silences the room. With a cold, steady voice, he says, "Since you tried to kill me, you must be prepared, right?" Seeing Jinho enter, Wano quickly rang a bell, summoning his men to attack. As they gathered, Jinho said, "It will be easy to squeeze insects like you when you're clustered together like this." Without hesitation, The men leaped at Jinho, intent on killing him. But Jinho, unfazed, calmly remarked, "You're making it easy for me to deal with you all at once." With a single, swift slash of his sword, he cut down everyone in his path, leaving them lifeless on the floor. The leader of the Black Ghost sect watched in shock, his confidence shattered. He thought to himself, "I thought we'd have a chance in a confrontation, even after failing an assassination, but it was just arrogance and delusion." Just then, Mariung and Yoon entered through the back door. They began fighting the two remaining survivors, displaying newfound strength and skill. The fight showed how much they had grown. They were now capable of defending themselves, at least somewhat. Realizing his life was in grave danger, Wano fell to his knees before Jinho and pleaded, "I was foolish to harbor thoughts that should not be entertained towards such a great master like you. If you spare me, I will offer tribute regularly." Behind him, Jiam Keelong was trembling with fear, aware that his fate was now in Jinho's hands as well. But Jinho had no intention of sparing anyone today. With a swift motion, he plunged his sword into Wano, ending his life. As the others looked on in horror, Jinho spoke coldly. "People these days think they can live life easily. Well, of course, you thought everything could be settled with money, so you hired an assassin. You should have listened when I told you to at least pretend to live like a human." As Jiam Keelong watched Wano die right in front of him, fear took hold. Desperately, he pleaded, "From now on, I will live as a human being. Please, give us one more chance and entrust the Yellow River to us. I promise we will not make the same mistake again." But Jinho's eyes were unforgiving. "There's no point in taking a chance with a narcissist like you because you'll always do the same thing again," he said, before swiftly killing Jiam Keelong as well. At that moment, the leader of the Black Ghost sect, seeing no other option, rushed at Jinho with a sword, hoping to catch him off guard. Their swords clashed, and as he fought, the leader thought to himself, "No matter how strong you are, you're still just a young fledgling." With a twisted grin, he revealed a poisoned needle hidden inside his mouth and thought, "This is a poison needle coated with the 7-step snake venom. There's no way a fledgling like you can evade this." But as he prepared to make his move, he was about to learn that Jinho was far more formidable than he had ever imagined. Jinho effortlessly evaded the poison needle, not giving the Black Ghost sect leader a chance to strike. Before the leader could react, Jinho swiftly ended his life with a precise blow. As he stood over the fallen bodies, Jinho spoke calmly but with a cold edge. "I understand the importance of life very well, but I don't let go of those who don't understand the suffering of others so easily." His words hung in the air, signaling the beginning of a new chapter in his life, one where he would no longer tolerate injustice or cruelty. A few days after the incident, Darky began recounting how he met Jinho, starting with his introduction. "I am a special cat that once lived on Mount Tai. I met my master there, and was given the name Darky. The first place I visited with my master was the Sook family manor. Rather dull place. The only semblance of entertainment there was the humans, who seemed to pale in comparison to my master. But the Yellow River, where I am now, was different. Here, there is someone who rules over the mountain, a mountain king, who causes harm to both humans and beasts. I've only been observing up until now. However, upon witnessing my master's dominion over the humans in the Yellow River, I've also resolved to assert my dominance over the beasts of the Yellow River. Now, I am set on capturing the Mountain King." Darky's determination was clear. Just as Jinho had taken control of the chaotic situation with the humans, Darky was ready to establish his reign over the beasts, marking the beginning of his journey of power and dominance. One day, while Darky was walking through the forest, he noticed the paw prints of a tiger. As he followed the trail, he suddenly heard a faint cry that caught his attention. "That's the cry of a wolf cub," Darky thought, his ears perking up. Along with the cry, a strong scent of blood filled the air, making Darky tense and alert. Darky followed the scent of blood deeper into the forest and soon found 3 wolf cubs huddled together, trembling in fear. In front of them stood the Tiger King, already in the process of killing their mother. Realizing the danger, Darky thought, "So, you intend to kill even the cubs?" Determined to save them, Darky boldly stepped in front of the tiger and declared, "As of today, this mountain is my territory." The Tiger King, unfazed, launched an attack, but Darky was quick. Before the tiger could land a blow, Darky leaped into the air and delivered a powerful kick to the tiger's face, sending him crashing to the ground. "Back off. Don't let me see you again," Darky warned. After receiving a fierce beating from Darky, the Tiger King, defeated and humiliated, ran away, leaving the wolf cubs safe under Darky's protection. After seeing the 3 wolf cubs, Darky became emotional, feeling a strong sense of responsibility for them. He decided to take them to Jinho's house. When Nanny saw the wolf cubs, she was overjoyed and exclaimed, "It seems that Darky has brought us some new family members." Maryung, observing the wolves, thought to himself, "Perhaps they are spiritual beasts, just like Darky?" Jinho, understanding the potential of these wolves, calmly reassured everyone, "With Darky here, there's no need to worry about any mishaps. If we can raise them as spiritual beasts, they might prove to be useful. Moreover, managing the ranch alone might be too much for Darky. A wolf seems like a perfect fit to help out. All right, let's welcome them into our family." Jinho then gave each of the wolves a name, saying, "From now on, your names are Blue Wolf, Yellow Wolf, and Brown Wolf." Hearing their new names, the 3 wolves expressed their gratitude to Darky with a historic, unified roar. After some time, Jinho was practicing his meditation in the middle yard when someone came to his door to deliver a message. Kong stepped forward to receive it. After taking the letter, Kong informed Jinho, "Young master, a letter from the Sook Wind Escort Agency has arrived." As Jinho took the letter from Kong, he couldn't help but notice how Kong watched Yoon and Maryung train with the same intense gaze. Jinho thought, he doesn't say it out loud, but his body language screams that he is eager to learn martial arts. Jinho then began to read the letter, realizing it was from his uncle Diakwal. The letter read, "Jinho, how are you? I wanted to visit in person, but due to a scheduling conflict, I sent this letter ahead. I'll drop by once this delivery is complete. Wait for me. I thought it might be good to catch up and discuss some matters." After finishing the letter, Jinho told Kong, "Since everyone is busy with their own things, can you call them? Including your younger sister too." Kong immediately went to gather everyone. Meanwhile, Jinho thought to himself, "Now that I think about it, I've kept it hidden for quite some time. I guess it's about time to reveal it." When everyone had gathered, they asked Jinho why he had called them together at this particular place. Jinho replied, "Do you know why I've insisted you taste all the local food around?" Maryung responded, "We thought you wanted us to filter out and provide you with only the delicious food." Nanny added, "I thought you took us there to learn about the local cuisine." Yoon simply said, "I didn't think about it much." Jinho then revealed, "The reason is right here. It's the place I visited before the construction." He removed the cloth from the door, revealing a sign that read, "River Affection Inn." Jinho explained, in Korean, river affection is called Haejong, which is Nanny's real name. That's why I've decided to name this establishment in her honor. Seeing her name on the inn, Nanny was taken aback and said, "This is too much for me to accept. Wouldn't it be better just to use the young master's name?" But Jinho replied, "I've already completed the contract using the Nanny's name. If you feel it's too much, you could sell it and use the money." Jinho then explained further, "It's a gift for the Nanny, but it also serves a purpose for me. The 1st and 2nd floors will serve as a restaurant, and the 3rd and 4th floors will be used as accommodations. Most likely, most of our guests will be disciples from the Heavenly Ascent Martial Academy." Hearing Jinho's thoughtful plan, Nanny was filled with joy. She smiled and said, "I'll do my best for you, young master." Not long after, the River Affection Inn officially started its operations. Thanks to rumors that the Heavenly Ascent Martial Academy values its people, it wasn't hard to find employees. And soon, with the taste of So Haejong's handcrafted food, they were able to quickly gain regular customers. In the meantime, Diakwal came to visit Jinho. When he arrived, Jinho welcomed him warmly, saying, "Thank you for coming to my place." Diakwal replied casually, "There were rumors everywhere I went. They say you've driven out all the Dark Path villains and opened an impressive inn." But Jinho quickly interjected, "Please, leave out talk about the Dark Path villain. The nanny will be worried. Among the visitors with Diakwal were several warriors, and one of them caught Jinho's eye. Jinho thought to himself, Jian Zhengdiak, that guy was among the strongest of the first-rate escort warriors. Though I expected it, it's not like I let them come without any test. Anyway, you said you wanted to talk about business, but it looks like you want to verify something first. In response, Diakwal said, it's rather sudden, but without asking, you are also from the Suk family manor. I trust you, but it doesn't mean Suk Wind Escort Agency trusts Heavenly Ascent Martial Academy. If you want to promote those who went out as servants to leaders, then they must demonstrate that level of skill, right? Hearing this, Yoon and Maryung were shocked. Jinho accepted Diakwal's proposal to demonstrate their martial arts skills. He knew that, without proof, families like the Suks would never acknowledge the martial arts skills of their servants. That's why Jinho first instructed Maryung to prepare for a fight with one of Diakwal's subordinates. Maryung was initially shocked, but Jinho inspired him, saying, show them the skill of the Heavenly Ascent Martial Academy's head instructor. Without hesitation, Maryung readied himself for the fight. Soon, both Maryung and the other fighters stepped forward, eager to demonstrate their skills. They exchanged respectful words, saying, please take care of me. As the fight was about to begin, Jinho turned to Kong and said, you need to watch this match to learn, but if you want to fight, I'll arrange it. Kong quickly refused, replying, right now, I just want to observe. The fight began with Maryung wielding his sword. His opponent had only his bare hands. Maryung quickly charged towards his opponent and launched a powerful attack. The opponent managed to defend against the strike, but immediately realized its strength, prompting him to take the fight more seriously. The two fighters engaged in a tense battle, their movements quick and precise. Maryung's sword strikes were sharp and calculated, each testing the opponent's defense. On the other hand, the bare-handed fighter displayed incredible agility, dodging and countering with well-placed punches. As the fight intensified, the bare-handed fighter managed to land a powerful punch to Maryung's stomach. Although the blow hurt him, Maryung refused to show any sign of pain. Instead, he immediately swung his sword, striking his opponent's shoulder and causing a serious injury. The fight grew even more intense after that. Determined to maintain his momentum, Maryung delivered a headbutt that staggered his opponent. Seizing the opportunity, he prepared to launch his final attack. The bare-handed fighter, despite his injuries, countered. He attacked Maryung's stomach to neutralize his internal energy. As the battle grew more dangerous, both fighters pushed their limits. So, Diakwal and Jinho stepped in to end it before anyone was hurt. As the fighters were separated, the onlookers were impressed by what they had witnessed. Diakwal, in particular, was surprised. He had never expected a servant like Maryung to put up such a tough fight against one of his skilled subordinates. The fact that Maryung, a servant, had held his own so well was a testament to his abilities and the training he had received. Recognizing the effort and skill displayed by both fighters, Diakwal declared the match a tie. This decision not only acknowledged Maryung's prowess, but also showed that he was now on par with some of the best martial artists from prestigious families.